state of Washington, Mr. Newhouse.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I do appreciate the gentleman from Florida bringing up the terrible train accident in the state of Washington this morning. And, the loss of life is never something that we should ignore, and we certainly have to improve our infrastructure system. But thank you for mentioning that, Mr. Hastings. I just want to thank you three gentlemen for being here, Mr. Brady, Mr. Neal, Mr. Roscom. The hour is late, but I think we've all learned a lot this evening, and I truly hope that either people are watching this live or will watch some of the recording of it, because I think we've all learned a lot about what we're doing here. Mr. Brady, you talked about lowering taxes and more jobs and bigger paychecks, and I think the testimony here this evening has pointed to very, very big things that we're trying to do here with this legislation. I thank you for your hard work and the whole committee's hard work on getting us to this point. And even though it's maybe just here in Congress, but I really can't let this opportunity go without pointing out I'm not sure exactly what to call it, the attitude, Mr. Brady, that you bring to this process that is contagious to the rest of the committee. I think Mr. Roscom is shaking his head yes. And I think it's something that we, as your colleagues, can really look to as a model on how to approach each other, how to approach issues, how to get things done with a smile on our faces. I think the American people will eventually appreciate that improved working environment is really more productive, and I just want to thank you for that, Mr. Brady.
No, you're welcome. And I'll tell you what, the whole attitude of everyone coming to this is the hardest lift there is of any generation. Yeah, absolutely. If you don't go in it with respect for each other's ideas and working through it, never succeeds. That's how I think several hundred of us in the House came to this discussion, and that's why I think we're here today. So there's a lot of compliments to go around in that type of.
Well, you've proven to us that we can disagree with each other as vehemently as we want to, but do it with a smile on our face, and we can be productive about it and learn from each other in doing it that way. So,
thanks, sir.
So I think that bears mentioning. And I think the point has been brought up that that the whole process, you and the committee have listened very well to those of us that had concerns and questions and ideas. I think Dr. Cole brought up that fact as well. I bugged you a couple of times about how farmers are being treated and several different issues, and you've addressed those concerns with the Section 199 as it relates to co-ops and farmers. And I've had several, bless their hearts, graduate students complain to me about how they were being treated in potential tax situations, and you listen to those concerns, and so there's just instance after instance that I think really have borne fruit and given all of us confidence that our voices do matter in this kind of a process on both sides of the aisle, and maybe some more than others. And I'll grant you that. But certainly from my perspective, it's been a very productive thing.
Thanks, sir.
Another thing that I think Ms. Cheney brought up, the issue of the individual mandate and the penalty that people have to pay if they don't buy insurance. And I just wanted to talk about that for a little bit, and talk about my district as it relates to, we have gas stations in Washington, not filling stations, but I relate to that.
You don't fill them up?
We do fill them up.
We gas them up.
We may talk a little different, but the same kind of thing. But the people I represent are, overall, they're not high-income folks. The state of Washington itself, almost 90% of the taxpayers that pay that individual mandate penalty earn less than $75,000. And the lion's share of those people really are earning somewhere between $25,000 and $50,000. So they're stuck between kind of a rock and a hard place, that proverbial spot that nobody likes to be in. They can't afford the health insurance, and they can't afford the penalty either. And so I've got some, Mr. Chairman, I'd love to introduce to the record just some graphs that illustrate that. In the state of Washington, as I said, 88% of those taxpayers that pay that individual mandate earn less than $75,000. And you can't see this, but I'll put it in the record. most of them fall into this $25,000 to $50,000 income bracket.
That objection being in the record.
A couple of my counties, just to illustrate even further. Adams County, 92% of the folks earn under $75,000. Again, more in the $50,000. Benton County, 89%. Douglas County, 89%. Grant County, 92%. My home county, Yakima, 92% of those folks are in that spot, that rock on a hard place. And so I just want to, you know, tell you how much I appreciate, on behalf of my constituents, that removing that individual mandate, how important that's going to be. And so that's going to, I think that they're going to see immediate relief from a tax burden. They won't be penalized any longer for something that they can't afford. And I just wanted to bring that up to you on their behalf. And I guess to reaffirm, to verify that that's the case, isn't it? I mean, I'm looking at this correctly.
No, you are. Look, Kroger is our grocery store. It's a block and a half from our home. That's where we shop. So I was going through the aisle the other day, probably buying something healthy, and had someone come up, and same thing, very modest income. The plans that are being offered were just staggering. The deductibles, the monthly, it was, and they told me how much they had to pay in the tax just to try to get out of it. So, you know, just giving them back the freedom to not be forced into buying something they can't use. And then on top of that, in your district, that middle-income family receiving $2,043 more, maybe they can get the health care they really want.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Rather than what they can't use and can't afford.
Yeah, that's real help, and that's a real benefit. That's something that I think will not go unnoticed. And, you know, that brings up the standard deduction. And I know Dr. Burgess talked about that a little bit, but it truly does. Someone was talking about how this isn't going to be simplified, that this new scheme that we have just complicates things. But when we are essentially doubling the standard deduction, that simplifies tax returns for a tremendous number of Americans. I know in my district, I think it's over 80% already use a standard deduction. And with this, it's going to simplify it for that many more people. Yep. So
you're on target all the way.
Yeah, absolutely. So I just want to, those are a couple of things that are really important to the people I represent. I know that, you know, there's a lot of things that are being said about our efforts here. There's just, you know, tax benefits for the wealthy and the big corporations, but there's some real meaningful changes that are being made here that are going to impact lower income, middle income Americans that are truly going to be impactful and important. And I think those are the people that we need to listen to especially, and I appreciate that all the work that has gone in on that. And so thank you very much. Again, thank you for bringing civility to the process. This is something that I'm very proud to be a part of. I think this is going to be something that we can look back on with pride, and that we were at part of something that got our American economy really going again, and really lead us into a new age of economic growth. And so thank you very much for all your hard work on that. Mr. Chairman, with that, I'll yield back.
Gentleman, just back his time.